How was your day? Hello, we are Why Is That? And welcome to our podcast series that often begins with why questions based on the first principle method, exploring various topics in life. To embrace a truly mindful way of living, join us in this episode. In a crowd, you'll often notice at least one quiet person, someone who just sits silently, occasionally nods, smiles, and says nothing at all. The interesting thing is that right after the conversation ended, a few people in the group turned to the quiet friend and started asking speculative questions. Hey, why are you so quiet? Are you an introvert? You seem a bit unapproachable, don't you think? Haven't heard you say a word all evening. Say something. You're not depressed, are you? Every time he heard things like that, he would just smile awkwardly, but deep down, he felt really uneasy and uncomfortable. Can you all just keep talking to each other and not pay so much attention to me? He used to wish he could be invisible. A strange wish, but it was true that he didn't want, even feared, being noticed by others. The thing is, everyone else's conversations seemed to be on a different wavelength, and he couldn't catch it. It was far beyond his ability to keep up with the interaction. He didn't like talking much, didn't want to talk. He just liked to listen. He was quiet because his mind was already loud enough. But somehow, in other people's eyes, that made him seem strange, eccentric, antisocial, maybe even sluggish, arrogant, or difficult. Since when did the way we judge someone depend on how much they talk? Right after the others in the group finished speaking, another friend waved his hand and laughed, saying, "Hey, just because someone's introverted doesn't mean they're quiet. I'm an introvert too." Everyone burst out laughing. "You, an introvert? You're always goofing around and grinning. How could you be an introvert?" Age is just a number, nothing more, nothing less. Because some people may be older, but still incredibly narrow-minded. In that lively crowd, there were some wearing masks and others who seemed friendly but were always alone. Why is that? Try pausing for a moment and think. Do you know someone who appears outgoing, has lots of connections, radiates positive energy every time you meet them, but their circle of close friends is actually very small? They prefer being alone. Their face looks incredibly stern when they're focused on work. They carry a lot inside, but would rather listen to others than open up about their own feelings. He wondered, so are they introverts or extroverts? Do they have split personalities, or are they just trying to force themselves to hide their own negativity? The truth is, no one is completely introverted or extroverted. Just because someone is sociable and friendly when interacting with others doesn't mean they're extroverted, and preferring to be alone doesn't mean they're lonely. In the book Confident Communication by author Ning Yun, there's an explanation that really resonates with me. Think of a person's personality tendencies as a spectrum. Introversion and extroversion are the two ends of that spectrum. This means people lean toward introversion or extroversion in varying degrees. In other words, many people are not 100% introverted. They have an ambivert personality. People who seem friendly but are always alone can be understood through three reasons. First, it's not that they are naturally aloof or unapproachable. They just understand that socializing is a selective process. When you see someone alone, it doesn't necessarily mean they don't have a social circle. It might simply mean you haven't been invited into theirs yet. As we grow older, we experience more and gradually come to understand who is truly worth investing our time in and who is better kept at a distance. In social relationships theory, there is Dunbar's number, proposed by Robin Dunbar. The number 150 refers to the maximum number of people with whom an average person can maintain friendships. From a neuroscience perspective, the human neocortex is currently only capable of sustaining relatively stable communication with fewer than 150 people. If that number is exceeded, we won't be able to maintain normal communication or our effectiveness will noticeably decline. The most direct reason is that everyone's mental energy and capacity are limited. We simply can't stay in constant contact with too many people over a long period of time. And the number of people with whom we can maintain close, ongoing relationships should not exceed 20. So even if you have 5,000 friends on your contact list, the number of people you can truly talk to and build meaningful connections with is actually very limited. The second reason why many people choose to spend more time alone is because they want to save time and have too many things to deal with. When you interact with a lot of people, you'll realize that everyone has different routines and everyone's time is always limited. You, on the other hand, always have your own things to do and need time alone to focus on tasks like reading or learning certain skills. These are things that can't be accomplished through casual conversations with friends. Being alone helps you clear out messy thoughts and figure out your own direction. So being alone doesn't necessarily mean you're aloof or unapproachable. Sometimes you just need to make the most of your environment to avoid distractions and boost your productivity. The final reason worth mentioning is that being polite and friendly is a matter of self-discipline, while being alone is a matter of personality. This reason can generally encompass all the others. These people tend to be more introverted by nature and they have strong self-discipline. They don't like conflict with others, so they're always kind and courteous to everyone. Keeping the peace is most precious is their guiding principle in dealing with others. Even when someone stirs up drama on purpose, they try to stay composed, unless their boundaries are pushed too far. They also choose to be alone because the pressure of socializing and staying connected drains a lot of their energy. These introverts need alone time to recharge, just like a phone that's about to run out of battery and needs to be plugged in. They care more about the quality rather than the quantity of social interactions, valuing the depth of connection over how often it happens. However, there's something you should keep in mind. Humans are inherently social creatures. As the German philosopher said, human sociability is not fundamentally instinctive, meaning that people don't socialize out of a love for it, but out of a fear of loneliness. No one truly enjoys being alone all the time. Even the most introverted people still have a desire to be noticed. Many introverts often reflect and worry about how to build social connections. However, they tend to make one common mistake, thinking they need to become extroverted in order to socialize well. Have you ever found yourself admiring people who are articulate, confident, energetic, and persuasive, wishing you could be like them? So you end up forcing yourself to pretend to be an extrovert, denying your own personality traits. But when you do that, the facade you've built won't last long. Soon, you'll start to feel mentally drained, worn out, and exhausted. So what should you do? In truth, being extroverted doesn't automatically mean being good at communication. Introverts can still be great communicators. We need to understand that being introverted or extroverted has nothing to do with a fear of social interaction. No one is 100% introverted or 100% extroverted. Most people have personality traits of both, so as long as you live true to who you are, observe yourself, and tap into your inner strength, communication will no longer feel like a nightmare. Here are some helpful methods you can consider. First, recharge your energy, even in the middle of a conversation. When you start to feel drained or unnatural, you can excuse yourself. Say you need to use the restroom, take a call, or reply to a client message, so you can find a quiet corner and spend some time alone to recharge. Come back to the interaction only when you're ready. Second, you can redirect attention. When interacting with others, who do your thoughts focus on? Many introverted people are overly sensitive to their own emotions, so during conversations, they tend to focus entirely on themselves. Am I presenting myself well? Or do their attitudes make me feel comfortable? try shifting your attention to others instead of fixating on your own tension. Observe the other person, how they speak, and how they carry themselves and their attitude during the conversation. That can help redirect your negative focus. Third, be selective about the conversations you engage in. Try sitting down and reviewing your recent social interactions. What impression or lesson did they leave you with? Do you want to experience a similar situation again in the future? This selectiveness helps you identify which conversations are beneficial so you can mentally and emotionally prepare, as well as avoid situations that may easily drain your energy. Lastly, give yourself time to think. Extroverts often get spontaneous bursts of inspiration and can come up with great ideas right in the middle of a conversation. Meanwhile, introverts are often inspired during conversations, but tend to draw conclusions afterward when they are alone. So be honest and let the other person know that you need some time to think, and maybe ask them to share their thoughts first. It's time we develop a more balanced perspective and shift the way we view introverted individuals. The strengths of introverts and their calm nature are essential to balance out other personalities within a shared community. Whether you're introverted or extroverted, it doesn't really matter. No specific personality type can hold you back from growing. It all depends on how you make the most of your strengths. Be wary of those who speak little. They're the ones truly thinking.